having a crash course tonight. It means, therefore, that you would have studied.
Good evening for probably the third or second time for the evening. The problem just now, it's not a YouTube problem. It's not a Mr. Wilson problem. It is a cable and wireless problem. So I got a message to say that the service was pretty unstable and we should wait a bit, and then everything went tumbling down. But usually I am a committed person to what I do, whether I am being paid or otherwise. So I try my best to return. So I'm bringing up back just about everything so that we can continue. All right, so sorry about that. It happens every now and then. To be honest with you, the exact thing, well, it wasn't about the internet this morning, but we had a whole lot of issues this morning before we started. And it seems as if when things are going really, really good, then we usually have issues surrounding that. But one of the things we have to remember is that life is not without challenge. Life is not without challenges. And because life will have some amount of challenge, you really don't want to give up the first time things go wrong. We have to remember persons like Thomas Edison and so on, that there's always a way. So I'm not too sure what's happening now. I am waiting on the syllabus to come up because I'm pretty much using that now. So let me see if I can get back to where we were. Anai, please, Anai, don't. All right, great. So we are back here. I do hope that we'll be able to reach everyone. All right, good. So the apple dry materials. All right, great. So sorry about that. It's bigger than we can control, or we could have control. So I don't know where we got cut off, but I was about to talk about, I was talking about producer, and I said that the producer, they are autotrophic organisms. And of course, autotrophic organisms pretty much make their own food. And we rely on autotrophic organisms because they are able to make their own food. And we're going to do that either directly or indirectly. Directly in the sense that we might be eating the plant, as we would have had some kalaloo, some ackee, something from the plant, a piece of sugarcane or a peanut or something. And we might pretty much have some beef or some chicken or some mutton or some chevron. And some of these things are herbivores, and they would have actually had the food from the plant, and then we would have had the food from them. So it's sort of indirect. So we looked at that, and I tried to establish then that a food chain is pretty much restricted up to about quaternary consumer, because as you move from left to right, we have the 10% law where energy is being lost to respiration, excretion, egestion, etc. Right? So it had asked us to show that, and we could have just looked at the food chain to do that. It said that we're supposed to explain the principle of a food chain, so we are now deep into the food chain. So let me just talk you through the food chain very quickly. You're hearing me, right? Just tell me if you're hearing me, because the food chain, the food web was on the bio exam today, and I sort of feel it on the HSP exam, because I think that CXD actually was really, really generous with what they sent, and I think it's going to be pretty much the same for you come Wednesday. All right, great, thank you. So let's talk about the food chain. The major problem with a food chain is students not knowing the organisms. So I'm going to make it very easy for you, for at least a producer. Your producer is going to be a plant. If it's not a plant, it's going to be like something like a phytoplankton. You know phytoplankton from SpongeBob? Yeah. Phytoplankton is a microscopic plant, and you can have a primary consumer being a zooplankton, which is a microscopic animal. You could have an algae there as the producer. The food chain begins with a producer, followed by a consumer or primary consumer, then a secondary consumer, then a tertiary consumer, and usually it stops at quaternary consumer. Why it stops at quaternary consumer? Because there's not enough energy to sustain life as you move along. Now, each organism in the food chain or food web, they have a role, they have a function, they have what we refer to as a niche, right? So pretty much the role of a plant would have been the producer to produce food for itself and for other organisms. Now, other organisms on the food chain would probably help to keep the other organism in check, keeping the ecosystem balanced so that the carrying capacity there is maintained. However, each organism would pretty much be able to collect food, get that food, and pass on the energy to the other organism within that food chain. The feeding level of the organisms in why? Everyone, why? Why what? This is a HSB room, so everybody that is here will be doing exam on Wednesday. This is straight HSB. We're not doing bio today, we're doing HSB. What's wrong? All right, great. So we're about to talk. What's wrong? Something itch? What could that be? All right, you'll be fine soon. All right, great. So we're about to talk about the feeding level. There are some organisms that are going to be herbivore, and organisms that are herbivore, they pretty much feed on other organisms. Percolation. Percolation has to do with soil and water. Soil and water. I don't know that it has anything to do with osmosis as such. It's like leaching, water moving, percolate. We usually use percolated rock and soil and that type of thing. All right, great. So I was about to tell you about the feeding level. So you have herbivores that feed on plants only. You have carnivores that feed on meat only. You have omnivores that feed on both plants and animals. All right, so that's the feeding level there in the food chain. Now I know that sometimes when we are supposed to communicate the feeding level on the food chain, what we tend to do is to say herbivore, carnivore, omnivore. That is incorrect. It's only an omnivore if there's an arrow from the plant to this organism and another arrow from an animal to that organism. If you don't have that type of a connection, then it is not an omnivore, it is still a carnivore. All right? So remember that the carnivore, they are eating meat only. The herbivore, they are eating plants only. Now, the relationship that exists between a plant and a herbivore, it is a predator-prey relationship where the animal is the predator and the plant is the prey. But the special type of predator-prey relation here is called herbivory. All right, so let us just move on a little deeper into food chain. Could you just behave yourself? All right. We're supposed to definition of a food chain and trophic level. So each organism in a food chain is referred to as a trophic level or represents a trophic level. A food chain is a diagrammatic representation of a flow of energy in the ecosystem. Of course, you can find other definitions. Feel free to do so. Now, names of organisms feeding at each trophic level, like omnivore, carnivore, herbivore, producer, we did that just now. Primary and secondary consumer, we did primary consumer, which is the organism feeding on the plant, and then that organism that is feeding on the herbivore is called a secondary consumer, and the organism feeding on the secondary consumer is called a tertiary consumer, and the organism feeding on the tertiary consumer is called a quaternary consumer, and usually it stops there. Now, reduction of available energy at each trophic level, utilization of energy at each trophic level, we did that. Now, the other thing that they want us to look at is the construction of a food chain from selected habitat. Now, the habitat that we're looking at here is pretty much terrestrial habitat and aquatic habitat. Now, a terrestrial habitat refers to land. However, where we see things like arboreal, that refers to bird, if it's in the tree, it is also a terrestrial habitat. Now, we're looking at terrestrial habitat, which is on land, and we're also looking at aquatic habitat. Now, aquatic habitat is in water. Now, the water could be saline, meaning that it has salt in it. It could be in an estuary, that is pretty much where the sea joins a river, so it's like brackish water, or it could be in a fresh water, like pond or river. So those are three different areas for aquatic food chain, and you also have terrestrial food chain. When you get to the exam, you must be able to distinguish between the type of food web, whether the food web is in water, which is aquatic, or on land, which is terrestrial. If you're seeing a caterpillar and you're seeing a lizard and you're seeing a bird, that one is on land. All right? But if you're seeing a fish and you're seeing some crayfish and you're seeing a whale, then that is one is pretty much in the water. So just have an appreciation that some food web or some food chains are going to represent what is happening in the water, while others will represent what is happening on land. We're supposed to identify the trophic level of each organism in a food chain. Go, mommy, call it. Now, I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to use my pen to draw and show you something now. In representing food chains, I'm out of paper, so I'm like writing on the back of important stuff I have here. It's already, you know, my 500 packs. All right. So to represent each trophic level, what you do, you write the number and a superscript beside it as a the superscript like degree, like you're writing 365 degree. So you write the number. So the first trophic level would have been written with 1, and you see that degree sign. And then the second trophic level would have been written with 2, and you're seeing that degree sign. And then the third trophic level would have written with 3, so on and so forth. So that is how you identify the trophic levels for the food chain. So 1 trophic level, 2 trophic level, 3 trophic level, and each organism in the food chain represents a trophic level. It's a trophic level or a feeding level, whichever one you want to refer to it as. All right, great. Now we identify the trophic level. Now we're getting into something now that is a little more detailed. The bio student didn't have to know about the nitrogen cycle, but HSB students, you have to know about the nitrogen cycle. We're supposed to describe the recycling of carbon and nitrogen in nature. So I'm going to just touch the carbon cycle very, very quickly, and then I'm going to start a brush over the nitrogen cycle. The carbon cycle has 4 main processes. It starts with photosynthesis, that takes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and the plant actually use this carbon dioxide to carry out the process of photosynthesis. While the plant carries out this photosynthesis, the plant is alive. So the plant is also carrying out respiration and giving back oxygen to the atmosphere. Carrying out respiration and giving back carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. So we have 2 of the processes as already. We have photosynthesis and we have respiration. Now the plants and animal alike will die someday. And where they experience anaerobic condition, in most cases, they will become what we refer to as fossil, oil and coal and that sort of a thing. And the process is called fossilization. So fossilization, because the carbon is now trapped in these components under the soil. Now, to get that carbon from, or to get the energy that is stored in the fossil fuel, we normally burn this fossil fuel. The process is called combustion. When we burn, we are giving off carbon dioxide back to the environment. So there you see all four processes. Photosynthesis, taking the carbon dioxide into the living world. The plant, using up that and giving off some carbon dioxide. Animals will eat the plant or eat the remains of whatever, and they are going to be respiring, and they are also going to be giving off carbon dioxide. And that, in a nutshell, is the carbon cycle. Now, what is the importance of the carbon? So we could look at carbon being important for photosynthesis. Now, carbon as a derivative of carbon dioxide, the transformation of carbon to carbohydrate. So we know that carbon is an essential component of carbohydrate, as carbohydrate is made up of the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And of course, when we look at this, we are looking at the process of photosynthesis, as it would have made the smallest part of carbohydrate, which is glucose. All right. So these are some very, very important salient points that you want to remember about the carbon cycle. The nitrogen cycle, on the other hand, is a little more complex than the carbon cycle. Now, the importance of recycling nitrogen is very, very important, as nitrogen forms a major part of protein. Protein being made of the element carbon, CHONSP. All right, so carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus, CHONSP. Now, nitrogen pretty much is recycled. Plants will take it up as nitrate by nitrate in the formation of pretty much plant protein. So that makes nitrogen very, very important, as it serves as pretty much plant protein. And of course, nitrogen in its unreactive form, the role, we are supposed to look at the role in the plant and the animal. All right, so nitrogen, plants use nitrogen in the form of nitrate. As it were, for animals, we are going to be using nitrogen in the smallest form of protein that we refer to as amino acid. Now, nitrogen is also plants like legumes are very, very important to the soil, as they assist with the fixing of nitrogen in the soil and making nitrogen available to the soil. Now, animals tend to eat plants like herbivore and so on in order to have their fair fix of nitrogen. There is also the bacteria called Rhizobium that is found in the root nodules of leguminous plant, and it pretty much has a mutualistic relationship, meaning that it's getting somewhere to live, and it is assisting the plant by ensuring that it has nitrogen, right? And then we'll know about decomposers, as it were, with compost heap. Can I let you in on a secret? And I really don't want you to let anybody else know. I'm going to share a secret with you. We have just completed section A of the syllabus. So it took us less than an hour to complete section A. I didn't go in depth in the nitrogen cycle. You can look at that. It did not say on your paper about the carbon cycle, but I want to expose it to the fact that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, right? It contributes to global warming, and that is probably something you want to know somewhere there. So we would have just completed section A of the syllabus, and I did everything on the syllabus. All that I asked you to do was to find out the function and to know the parts of some cells and so on. All right. So you can just quickly fly through that in your book, just like I did just now. But when you are doing so, like I am doing, use the syllabus, because the syllabus will tell you just what you need to know for the exam. All right, great. All right, so that was a nice thing. It was summary, but I think we covered quite a lot. Now we are going to get into some specifics now. We are going to be looking at the skeletal system, which I think is the next thing on the syllabus. So we are going to be looking at not reproduction. Remember, I gave you the topics that will be coming on the exam. So you don't need to speculate or have anybody tell you anything because they have some personal agenda. What their agendas are, I really don't know. So we are looking at the skeletal system. The first thing we want to do is to identify the bones in the skeletal system. All right, so let me see if you are over there. Are you ready? We are going to be looking at the skeletal system. And I want to I know that a lot of persons can't use YouTube. You are going to be upset with me, but it's the truth. I am a vlogger, so if I'm a vlogger, I know you can't use YouTube. So I'm just going to give you a YouTube lesson very, very quickly to those persons who can't use YouTube. If you look below the video there, somewhere to the center, you are looking at your screen to the center right below the video. I think you will see some 3 little buttons like ellipsis, 3 little dots. If you click on them, you are going to see something coming up like a flag, and you'll see something below it that says transcript. If you click on the transcript, you will see everything that I have said in English all typed out for you. If you go there and check it now, you'll see it. Everything that I have said, once it is said in English, it is all typed out there where you can see it. You can also move between timelines. So you'll observe that sometimes I'm making emphasis on words because I understand that YouTube is typing what I am saying. And when you get into the transcript, you will be able to see it. Sir, no, sir, I am not seeing it. It is just somewhere down there below the video you are watching. I'm not watching a video now than the one, not the thumbnail, you know, below the live that you are watching. I'm almost certain somewhere down there. So it's opposite. I just see, so only the flag is there. All right, probably it's not there yet. As soon as the video replay, you'll see it. So when the video is finished, probably you'll see the transcript coming up. All right, or if you check another video, you'll see it. Outside of that, if you want to find the many videos that we have on the channel, you'll see a blue button down there marked CSEC Biology TCP. If you click on that button, it will take you to the back end of my channel, and there you can choose video to go to the many playlists, or you can choose playlists and you can look for the biology past paper playlists and watch them at your leisure. We have 5 or 6 years of multiple choice worth of past paper there, and we also have a number of paper 2 past paper there that you should be able to see. Also, you see it. You are seeing the transcript. So somebody said that they see the transcript. All right. So as I go along, I make emphasis on these words that when you go to the transcript, you can easily scroll to the part of the transcript that you want to see. You don't have to watch a long video. Go there, click the thing, go to the transcript and look for what you want to find. All right, great. So I'll just emphasize again, we're going to be looking at the skeletal system. All right, great. So looking at the skeletal system, there are some bones that we want to know. And I'm going to be teaching you these bones. You remember we used to play my head, my shoulder, my ma. All right, great. So we're going to be doing a little of that now for you to remember. So I can't see you, but I will tell you. So if you look at me, I'm looking at the syllabus now, and I'm going to touch the bones as I touch the syllabus. And you can touch up yourself just the same. So you have the cranium, which is the skull, this nice thing. It is round, look like a football, some big, some small. Some have triangular shape, some have square shape. Luckily, I have this shape. I don't know what shape it is. This is the cranium. The cranium has what we refer to as orbit. And in the orbit here, we have our eyes. And they are in the eyes that, the eyes are in the orbit for protection. So if you were supposed to do that, then what would happen is that the eye would pretty much sink inside and you'd probably just hit over the eye. Yeah, there are times that the eye get injured, but it's there for protection. All right. The skull is also here, nice and dandy, and it protects the brain, right? It protects that brain, that vital organ. And then we have this bone right here. And persons will tell you that your collarbone deep, they call it the collarbone. Your collarbone deep so till mosquito could have your head in there. That's patwa. All right. So the clavicle is this bone coming around here, and they call it what do they call it? Collarbone. So it's called clavicle. Then we have another bone that is somewhere right here. We call it the shoulder bone. This is the scapula. The one here, shoulder bone here. You need to know this bone, the shoulder bone here, so that when we talk about the point of origin and the point of insertion, which are 2 points that you need to know for the exam tomorrow, once you are talking about skeletal system. You will have to know all the bones here in the upper arm for your exam. I can't send it to a skeletal exam without you knowing the forelimb. All right, great. So cranium, clavicle, scapula. Then this one down here, so that runs down the back, we call it the backbone. It's actually the vertebral column. It's called a vertebral column. I think this one here is called the humerus. I think I'm telling the truth. This one here is called the humerus. And then we have a bone that sits, the humerus sits in like that. So it's like a cup here, and it sits in it like that, right? That is the bigger bone that runs here. It's called the ulna. The bigger bone that is running here, it is called the ulna. And between the ulna and the humerus, there is an hinge joint that allows only movement in one plane. All right? Great. But beside the ulna here, there is another bone that is called the radius. Now, the radius is attached to the side of the ulna, and it allows the hand to be able to pretty much twist around like that. So you find that we have 2 joints in this region that offers 2 different movements. So you are seeing my hand moving like that. What is happening is that the radius is pretty much moving over the ulna, as the ulna is pretty much fixed right underneath the humerus, and it is not pretty much moving anywhere than going up and down. All right. And then now we have some nice things here for which we should be collecting from the women for. We didn't give them to you. We actually trusted them and you did not pay for them. We put all our trust in you and gave them to you. You have not paid for them. All right. We have 12 pair of ribs here, and the 2 at the bottom here, they are not connected to a bone in the middle here that we call the sternum. So this bone here, they call it the chest bone, tough bone. It protects the heart, because the heart pretty much sits in the middle of our chest, right? So the heart sits in the middle of our chest, but it curves slightly to the left. So this is called the, how did we get to carpals? We're not even there as yet. All right. All right. So here we have the sternum, and we have the ribs connected to the sternum coming around like that. But there are 2 ribs at the bottom here that we have that is called floating ribs. All right, great. Then we have what is referred to as the girdles. All right, we're not there as yet. All right, great. So then we have what is called the girdles. So right across here, this attachment, remember that the skeletal system could be divided into 2, that which we call the appendicular skeleton. What the appendicular skeleton means is that it has appendages. So the leg and the arm, those would have been appendage, appendicular skeleton, something attached to it. And then we have the axial skeleton that is made up of this big thing here, the spinal column, and pretty much a rib cage. What you see in the book is not right. It is wrong. That color coding is wrong in the book. All right? The color coding you have in the book for the axial skeleton, it is wrong. All right? Great. Now, the shoulder region here is called the pectoral girdle. And when I was a little boy, I used to hear my grandmother say to the girls, "You watch your pelvis yet?" And I was like, where she get that word from? Pelvis? What the hell is pelvis? And then I grew up and I did science and I realized how she got that pelvis. You know that we get a little bit of word. I wouldn't know everything so well, but we sort of can use it one kind of way. So that is where I got my probably first biology lesson, that down that area down there is called the pelvis, and it is actually the pelvic girdle. So you have the pelvic girdle down here and the pectoral girdle up here. Then when we get now down to the legs, we are going down to the leg. We have a long bone that comes pretty much from, it runs pretty much from the hip, from the pelvic girdle down to the knee. Now this particular bone is called the femur, right? And then as we go down into the leg below the knee, we are going to have two bones there. And these two bones are called the tibia and fibia. I think the tibia is the larger bone and the fibia being smaller. I am almost certain that is what it is. And let me just check to see if we need to look at the phalanges. There is nothing there that I should tell you about the fingers and the digits and all of that, except when I go to joints, I think we should. So let's go back to the bones again, and I will touch them and you type them on the screen, just because I don't think that person should study what they can feel. All right, in Kendall Crash in Jamaica, a lady picked up something that looked like a pencil, but it was a little fleshy, but it looked like a pencil, probably a little bigger, a little smaller. And they asked her why she held on to it, and she was crying. And she was crying that it belonged to her husband. I don't know what he was doing with it or what it was there. And they said, how you know it belongs to your husband? And she said, who feels it knows it. All right. I heard about that story from the Kendall Crash, biggest train wreck in Jamaica. She said when she picked up that little thing looking like a pencil, flesh sheet was probably bigger than this or smaller. She said, he who feels it knows it. So if you feel it today, I am sure that you will know it. Because I don't think that lady from the Kendall Crash was telling a lie. Ladies, you can tell me I don't know. So here, type it in the chat for me. This is going to be our... I don't know what it was. I just know that she felt it. I really don't know what it was. I'm so sorry. Probably you have to ask your parents what it was. I don't know. I wasn't there, right? I don't know what it was. Ask your parents. Okay, great. This is the skull, cranium. That much we know. And why we know that it is the skull? Because he who feels it knows it. That is what was said. So this pretty much is the cranium. And then we have another bone right here. It expands, come right around here to the sternum. What's that bone? Now you have to feel it. Only if you feel it, you can know it. All right? Only if you feel it. So make sure that you're feeling it. That lady in the Kendall Crash, she was able to identify that part of the human body. Oh, sorry, not human body. That thing looking like a pencil. I'm so sorry. And she felt it and she knew what it was. So yes, it is the clavicle. And then there's another bone around here. This one right here. Yes, you know that nice little thing. Hey, I tell you, what is this bone here called? You have to feel it to know it, So just give yourself a nice, warm, nice, juicy hug. If you can hug yourself, oh, wow, you will just feel this nice bone around here. Sometimes we need a little hug and we need to hug ourselves. All right? And then now we have another bone coming down here. This bone right here. Remember, you want to, no, not the vertebral column, not at all. You can't hug up yourself to feel the vertebral column. And then we have another bone coming right here on the arm right here. This long one right up here, so it come right here, so, and stop right here, so. This one, humerus, beautiful. So we have this one here. And then we have a bone that sits right, this humerus sits into the bone right here. What is the name of that bone? What's the name of that bone? I said that you really needed some activity, but I really wanted to cover a lot with you tonight, so I was talking a whole lot. I do apologize. All right? And then there's a bone that sits to the side. There are two bones here, you know. There's a bone that sits to the side here that allows us to turn the hand like that. What is that bone called? Okay. Remember, you have to feel it. I believe that lady in the Kendall crash, she said, who feels it knows it. And if there's anybody here who think that that is a lie, let me know. All right, great. So then we come down and we have this bone that pretty much run right down the back here and it goes right down. What is this bone called? Are sets of bones. It's not just one, a couple of bones. All right, it's called the vertebral column. No, it is not the spinal cord. That is a common mistake made by students. The spinal cord actually passes through the bone. So it is the spinal column or vertebral column, but not spinal cord. Please do not type spinal cord. That is wrong. All right, great. And then remember, we have the pectoral girdle here. We have 12 pairs of ribs. Did I tell you that a baby has more bone than you and I? Oh, yes. I think we have about 200, is it something 200 or 300, 206, I think. Correct me, I could be wrong here. Sometimes I don't remember everything. But we have about 206 and the baby would have more. All right, because the bones are not fused as yet. 306, you're sure, or 206? I think it's 206. All right, you can check and tell me. I am like really rusty on that. I'm sorry. I'm really rusty. Most persons are saying that it is 206. Okay, so I'm going to leave the class now because you want to talk. No, and I don't want you to drop asleep. All right, great. So we will continue. Remember, in the leg now, we have the femur and all of that. But I'm going to be just jumping on a little bit because it seems like you have mastered that. All right, relate the structure of the skeletal system to its function. So there are about 6 functions the skeletal system will have. Type them in the chat for me very quickly. Very quickly, 6 functions. Remember, if you, I'm having this headache on this side of my head. Remember, if you don't take part, you are going to fall asleep. If you want to really remember or know this thing, ask the lady from the Kendall crash what needs to happen. You need to feel it to know it. So in feeling it, you have to take part in it. So movement, production of, not body cell. No, not body cell, but blood cell. Strength and structure. That is what teachers telling you those stuff. I've never even seen things like those. Protect internal organs. Yeah, protection. Yeah, movement, protection, support, production of blood cell. So it's blood cell and not body cell. Breathing, I've never seen that breathing one, but I think I can relate to it. Shape, it gives the body shape. Protection, produce body blood cells. Okay, great. All right. It helps to keep the body upward. So support is keeping the body upward. And it also serves as a deposit or a storage for calcium. All right, remember that. Movement and support. I've never seen breathing, but I think I can relate to breathing with the rib cage as we breathe. And it allows for breathing. I think that is the function where we say that the skeletal system allows for muscle connection. All right, I think I can relate to that. All right, great. So let's just move right along. You would have mastered that, so I don't need to stay on it. So it looks like you are good over here. All right, relate the structure of a typical bone to its function. Diagram of long bone required. Internal view. All right, great. What this means is that you have to look at a long bone, either the one up here or usually the one in the leg. You'll observe that there's a ball at one end. So they are saying that it is the internal structure of this bone that they want you to look at. So you are going to look at a long bone. There must be a picture in your book with a long bone, and it's the inside of the bone that they want you to be able to label. Now, I don't have anything to show you a long bone. So we are seeing something here, spongy bone, fatty marrow. So it means that these persons who are talking to me now, bone marrow, compact bone. So it means that these persons understand where we are going with a long bone. You must know a long bone for the exam. I'm sort of liking the flare now. Thank you very much, guys, for putting some sugar in the tea. All right, great. So let's move right along. The long bone, you would have had that. Then the other thing that we're supposed to do, we're supposed to distinguish bones and cartilage. We're supposed to look at the composition of, we're supposed to do comparison of characteristic of bones and cartilage. All right, bones and cartilage. Anybody want to distinguish between bone and cartilage? All right, this is a cartilage. This is a cartilage. This is a cartilage. And between our joints, we have cartilage. And between the ribs here, we have cartilage. While bones are the much harder surface. Now, you are supposed to do a distinction between bone and cartilage. Cartilage reduces the friction between bones. What that means is that it doesn't allow the bones to rub together, to rub out like that footpath that you travel to go up the road, or the shoes bottom that keep rubbing off. So that is what cartilage do. But what is the appearance and the makeup of the cartilage like? That is also very important for us to know. So yes, we are telling about the function. So there is going to be functional difference. What is it that they do? Bones allow for muscle attachment, while cartilage pretty much prevents friction. All right. Now, what about the structural differences? Structural, how they are made up. You really need to look at that as well. So bone are tough white cartilage. Cartilage are flexible connective tissue with living cell. They are both connective tissue. All right. Elastic and translucent. That is going to be the cartilage. Cartilage, elastic and flexible. Very good. Cartilage are composed of living cell surrounded by collagen fibers. So now we are hearing a lot of music being played, and I like where this is going. For persons who are not here yet, this is where your finger should be on the keyboard. All right. Causing friction. All right, so what happens is that, remember, the cartilage prevents that shock. If the bones are supposed to slam into each other, every time you jump or walk, you'll be having problem. When the cartilage become destroyed or damaged, what tend to happen is that you start feeling pain and you start to talk about arthritis and all this fancy dancing. All right, very good. I think we are getting the gist of where we are going. The skeletal system is going to be there, and when you get it, you hit it out of the park here. The other thing we are going to look at, we are going to explain the importance of the cartilage, and we did that just now. So we do the distinction, looking at the makeup, and then we talk about the function. We are now supposed to distinguish between tendon and ligament. Hold one bit. What this means, let me help you to interpret the exam. What that means is that on the exam paper, they will ask you to distinguish between cartilage and bone, not cartilage and ligament. So they will pair those and ask you a question. So you have to study along that line. And the same is also true that they will pair, of course, the tendon and the ligament. So I want you to be able to distinguish between tendon and ligament. It says comparison of characteristic. That is pretty much what it does or what they do, and function of the characteristic is of course the makeup, sorry, and the function of tendon and ligament. So you have to tell us about the structural difference, which is the characteristic, and you have to tell us about the functional differences as to what they do. Let me see what you have over there, because you've been punching the right notes. Tendon are non-elastic. So we're talking about structure, and ligament are elastic. Ligament attached. It seems as if it's only some persons being a part of the class. For those persons who are not being a part of the class, make sure you're looking in your textbook. A tendon serve to move the bone or structure. Ligaments is a fibrous connective tissue which attach bone to bone. So ligaments attach bones to bone. So what is it that tendons do? I don't know. What is it that tendons? What is it that tendons do? If a ligament attach a bone to a bone, what is it that tendons do? Ligament attach bone to bone. What is okay? So tendon connect muscle to bone. All right, good. We have mastered that, and we're going to move on. This is a crash course, so don't expect me to be here forever. All righty, let's move on. Identify an inch joint. Now, I have a video of that on my channel, and a fixed joint and a ball and socket joint. So you need to know an inch joint. All right. So an inch joint allows movement in one plane, right? And the first one that should come, persons are saying the ankle. This one is the best one for me. All right. So this is an inch joint, and in the pelvic girdle, you have a ball and socket joint here, and you have one in the hip. Fixed joints are, what is a joint? You're telling me all of these fancy something. Inch joint, knee and shoulder, that is wrong. Inch joint, knee and shoulder, that is wrong. It's actually knee and elbow. Knee and elbow for the inch joint. Knee and elbow. All right, so inch joint are formed when, so joints, wherever a joint is, anywhere that bones meet. So when we talk about fixed joint, in the head, we have some fixed joints. And in the coccyx, that region right below the spinal column that makes up the pelvic girdle, we have some fixed joints. Now, fixed joints are immovable joints. They don't move, while we have synovial joints, which are joints that move. All right, great. I think you are doing well, and I think I can put my foot on the tracker. All right, so we looked at inch joint, ball and socket joint, and fixed joints are the joints that they say we should look at. Now, describe movement in the inch joint. Now, movement is, of course, in one plane. All right, describe movement in the ball and socket joint. It is pretty much 360, so it pretty much can go all around. I think I have a video on the skeletal system on my channel. You can watch it. There are some animations we have there. Now, identify the bicep and the tricep muscle. All right, we're coming up to a little more tricky part now. And then it said required point of origin and point of insertion. That is what we have the video on. Point of origin and point of insertion. The bicep muscle is so strong. How does he do it? Ha ha ha. This muscle here is the bicep muscle, and it is bi because it has two tendons. And then the one under the bottom here is the tricep muscle, and it is tri because it has three tendons. Now, these muscles work antagonistically, or they are antagonistic muscle. They work opposite of each other to bring about motion. Now, when the hand is like this, it is extended, and when the hand is like this, it is flexed. But look at what happens to your hand. Please stretch out your hands for me. Yeah, I can see you. Stretch out your hand for me. Out like that. Great. I'm not going to hit you. Good. Stretch out your hand like that and feel the nice little muscle that you have here. Nice one on the top here and a nice one right here. Now put your hand on the one on the top and then you are going to flex your hand like this and tell me what happens to the muscle at the top here. Tell me what happens to the muscle at the top here. The muscle contract. No, somebody I want to know about this one. When you bend or flex the hand, tell me what happens to this muscle. No, tell me physically what happened. What's your observation? Why are you telling me so much sophisticated something that I don't understand? The muscle gets short and fat. Look, it was all long, and then I carry it up, it becomes short and fat. Of course, it would have contract, but that is sort of too technical for me right now. Right, great. So it will contract. So much things happening. Let me see what you. Yeah, it become bulged. All right, great. All right, all right, guys. It look like we're ready for the exam. They're gonna just lick the place. Hold on, Jesus. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right, great. All right. So in order to bring about movement, this muscle will contract while this muscle relax. Now to pull the hand back down, this muscle will contract while this muscle will relax. So what you find is that they are working like that antagonistically. All right? They are antagonistic muscle. Now tell me in the chat the difference between the point of origin and the point of insertion. Point of origin and the point of insertion. Tell me about that now. Point of origin and the point of insertion. You're telling me a lot of things, man. I see that your thing lit, and I'm not going to hold you back. I'm going to make sure that you keep moving. All right, some persons are a little late. I want to know the difference between the point of insertion and the point of origin. Point of insertion. Sir, don't know that one. No, unless I am mistaken in my head, I'm seeing some things that are not so accurate. Origin is where the muscle contract. Point is where the muscle tendon. Oh, point of insertion. Oh. 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 So all of them something they want to write, they make any sense to you? That on the teacher, no? Hush. 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 Make we try this thing. Let us try this thing. Because any teacher teach you that, there's no way you will even understand that what them teach you. You won't even, because I've been looking and see if I can find something. All right. So it is very, very simple. Very, very simple. Just give me 1 second here. Because I want to think that I am the person who is not remembering the thing. So I am just going to make sure that I remember the thing. Just give me 1 second. But I am almost certain what you have here is not right. All right, let me give you, I know that I was right. All right, let me give you something simple here. Let me give you something simple. It's a very simple thing. I send me go half a tree go buy paper. I see that man them go copy some paper and him take my number and something. I don't know if he want to give me a work or something. Story time. Origin. Origin. The point of origin. Where you originate, where you're coming from. Your roots. It never move. Wherever you are from, it does not change. That is the point of origin. So the point of origin speaks to that bone that the muscle is connected to that does not move or move the least. With that said, this is the point of origin. It doesn't move, or if it does, barely. This is the point of insertion. The point of insertion speaks to the bone, the attachment for the point where the bone moves the most. So wherever you are having most of the movement is the point of insertion. The point where you have a little bit of movement, that is the point of origin. You see, all of them fancy something they want to just tell me a while ago. Boy, for them, they need to study if you know this thing. I think I could have studied. I don't know why teachers need to give you all of them something. All right? After you can understand and identify that, then them can give you all of them something where them give you. But before you get to that, you just need to be able to touch your body. Origin, you see that bone doesn't really move much. Insertion, this bone move a lot. So when we look on this muscle, it is connected here and it is connected up here, but this one is moving more than this one. So this down here, so, is the insertion. And just like where you come from doesn't change, Jawawan come from mostly Trinidad or somewhere over there, so it not change. My next friend that's come from over Spanish Town, it not change. That's where you come from, that's where you originate, that's where your origin, it not move. So it's just like the point of origin wherever the muscle is connected, it just does not move, or if it does, barely. That's all there is to the point of origin and insertion. All right, so we move on. I do hope, sir, adjust your screen. What does that mean to my screen? All right, so at your chest is a joint of origin. All right, what is connected to it that is moving or not moving? Let us explore that and then we can answer that question. All right, good. All right, so we were at origin. Or point of origin, location. You are supposed to be able to identify the location for the point of origin. So I did show you one here. I must also be able to give the definition for the point of origin. Probably now that I show you how to identify it, you can attach that fancy thing that you have there to it. And you are supposed to be able to identify the location of insertion and of course be able to give a definition. That is what the syllabus is saying. So what we're getting tonight is from the Bible of HSB. So you can say that it is Gospel of HSB. Now explain how skeletal muscle function in the movement of a limb. And we were just doing that when we were looking at the contraction and relaxing. You need to know that. So you need to know the muscles in the arm. You need to know how the arm get to this is what flex. You need to understand how the hand flex. You need to understand what causes the hand to extend. All right. So this is the upper arm, and if they give you the leg and not the upper arm, it's the same way it operates. All right. So they tend to call it the lower or the hind leg, and the front leg. They say that these are front legs and these are hind leg. It's pretty much the same way it functions. All right. We are supposed to, okay. Oh, so it said we are supposed to describe movements in the hinge joint. Now we'll pass that already. Oh, we're movement. Oh, we passed that. Diagram required the role of antagonistic muscle. All right, so we spoke about, well, I was just telling you about, you will get the limb, is a movement of a limb, effect of exercise, and muscle tone. Ah, Jesus. Yes, it must. Wanna tell me in the chat what is muscle tone? Because you have some misconception out the road about muscle tone. You see? Tell me about muscle tone. You want a girl that is well toned and you want a boy that is well toned. Tell me what is muscle tone in the chat here. Just teach me something. Probably I don't know. What is muscle tone? The syllabus wants you to be able to communicate muscle tone. All right? I don't know. No, all right. So the syllabus, I'm serious now. The syllabus wants you to talk about muscle tone. It says you're supposed to know about movement of a limb and effect of exercise on muscle tone. So when you exercise, it will tone your muscle. But what does muscle tone mean? When they say that your muscle is toned, what does it mean? Ah, that one is good. Ins said it just now. So tone muscle speaks about tension being on the muscle at rest. So that there's tension on the muscle. It's not all floppy and like gel or something. It's just it muscle tone like one place like that. But if it's not tone, it's like. So you want to go to gym and do some exercise that your legs are toned, not moving like the flag in the wind. And I'm not hitting anybody here because I don't know any of you. All right. So a toned muscle is a muscle that has tension when you're at rest. All right. So it not just look flabby something. So always remember the syllabus wants you to know about muscle tone. All right. Persons always have all sorts of things to say about muscle tone, but what it means is that the muscles are pretty much at tension. All right. Or has a tension on it. All right, great. Explain the importance of locomotion to man. All right, why is locomotion important to us, any at all? All right, it looks like we're going to go a little longer because we have a cut-off time and we'll miss out on something. We're going to try to do something. And then we have another live 5 o'clock tomorrow morning or 5:30 tomorrow morning. We're going to go up until about 10:30. And then 5:30 tomorrow morning, we'll have another live where we continue. And then tomorrow evening now, we are going to be looking at a past paper. Hopefully, we would have covered everything. Or if we don't cover, I will tell you tonight strategically what is it that you need to do versus what is it that I'm going to help you with, given the time that we have left. All right. All right. So we need to move to escape danger. We need to move to find food. We need to move to find mate. Right. So in order for me to find my partner, I had to move. Right. And in order to have dinner, I had to go to the supermarket. Right. And when they were firing those shots in Haiti, persons had to move. Whatever was happening in Cuba, persons had to move. Persons have to move to avoid danger. All right, great. So we are back on the syllabus. You are doing well so far. Next thing that it said that you are supposed to do, you are supposed to evaluate the factors which adversely affect the skeletal system. Include posture and poor footwear. Jesus. All right. This is a big one. And let me just tell you a little bit about this. We're going to identify the factor, but we have to identify what they do. All right. Now, yes, you're supposed to have toned muscle. Now, if you are going to sit at your desk and you are going to slouch, what it does, it reduces the space in the abdomen, and of course, it inhibits the proper digestion and possibly absorption of food. What eventually happens over time is the body curving, and you end up with a condition they call round shoulder. But there are some times when you are putting on a little bit on the belly and you have a lot of weight there, or you're pregnant or something, or whatever, you want to walk with the chest up, you tend to brace yourself like that, and then you end up with what is called hollow back. There was a time when women wanted to, before we had that thing that was stuck in the butt, there was a time when women wanted to have that part of their body bending, pushing out. So they used to walk and pretty much pull in the back to push out that part, and then eventually they ended up with hollow back. All right. So, all right. So we want to avoid that. We want to stand straight. We want to make sure that we are not curving or leaning or bending like that. And if you have proper muscle tone, that will happen. Now, when you start curving or bending or slouching, what you are doing is to cause some of your muscle to become short and some to become long. So after a while, you have that fixed posture of hollow back or round shoulder, or lean this way or lean that way, or your head turn this way, your head turn that way. And then after a while, you reach about 50, 60, you think that somebody had obia you, but that is not the case. It's a case of how you really carried yourself while you were, or how you cared for yourself then. Another thing, when you are lifting weight, you should lift the weight from your leg, not from your back, right? And women who love to wear, I remember this is a crash course now, women who love to wear high heel shoes, because I don't know why women wear high heel shoes to those fancy jobs. I really don't know. Probably you can tell me. Because the literature is there to say that this high heel shoes is going to tilt your womb backward, and you're going to have problem with conception and all of that. And also, it tells you that it's going to damage the leg. Somebody said athlete foot. I don't know. No, athlete foot. Athlete foot is an infection. What it is going to do is to damage the bone, and you will have callus. The thing get hard, and the toenail damage. And then after a while, you might find fungus in the toenail, and the toe bend, curve going around one side like so. Instead of straight like all the toes, it curve going around one side like so, and then one big bone come right just, and then it's hard and all of that. And then after a while, you start having pain in the leg because now the bones here in the feet, they start they are now moved out of position, and because they are out of position now, you start to feel in pain and all of that. So women are going to work and they are wearing these high shoes, and then they carry another shoes, and then they take it off and all of that, and and then after a while now, the back start to hurt because the shoes tilt the body, and because the shoes tilt the body, then you start having back pain, and you start to say, boy, the work, but it's not the work, it's the shoes. All you need to do is to wear a comfortable footwear, and don't wear anything to look like anybody else. Just try to look like you. A whole lot of things happening. This is outside of shoes now. I remember I was in a shop in Arthur, and a lady passed me properly clad. Forgive me, I am old. I am from yesterday, not today. So a lady passed me inside the store, a clothes store I was in, and I observed something pretty peculiar. She had a black shoes on, and for some reason or the other, on the other leg, she had a red shoes on. I didn't know that you could wear two different foot of shoes, and that is fashion. And this was a woman who was well clad, looked like she worked at one of those places that shuffle money. And she was wearing two different shoes. Now you can imagine she wearing two different shoes from two different company, and one of the shoes have a softer sole than the other. You realize what she's doing to her body? So these are some of the things that we have to look at. Let it not be fashion that causes us to damage ourselves. All right. So there we have it. We would have gone through so we looked at, yes, we looked at pretty much, let me see what's happening down here. Oh, wow, that was quick. So you want to make sure that you just hammer off the skeletal system. Just go through it one more time, and once you would have gone through the skeletal system one more time, you see how quick it was for us. You are going to be out and over with the skeletal system. Just let me just check my thing here to see where we are. So we would have looked at, oh wow, we're really far. All right, we're going to try to do reproduction in the morning, which is a big topic. The impact of health, I don't know that we are going to be able to do that, so you guys probably have to resort to those videos that I did. The impact of health, I suggest that you go to the last set of videos that we did on health and sewage and all of that. Go and watch those videos from the live. That should be able to help you. So we are going to be looking between tomorrow sometime. I want to do heredity and variation with you. The others you can read because there are videos out there. But I love to go over heredity and variation with you and disease. Even if we don't do any past paper, I want to make sure that these topics are covered. You can pretty much, there's a past paper on my channel, you can use it. And we will try to do a past paper sometime tomorrow to make that past paper available. I'm going to quickly up on into excretion, but excretion is a little more challenging than the skeletal system. And I'm going to see if we could cover skeletal system tonight. And then tomorrow morning, we'll look at reproduction, which is a big topic. Now, so let me just up right into the excretory system and homeostasis. So if you are using your textbook, sir, do you teach straight biology also? You are new to the channel. You're not a subscriber. Yes, I teach both biology. I teach a couple of subjects well. Well, I teach a couple of subjects. I don't know if I teach them well, but I teach a couple of subjects. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. Please be reminded to like, share, and subscribe. I am Mr. Wilson from CSEC Biology, TCP, and of course the TCP Academy. That is our paid version of online school. All right, so we are loading for September, and persons who have siblings or friends who need somewhere for some extra help or to go to class that is worth your money and pretty affordable, you want to join us over there. All right. HSB, he teaches well. Okay. Well, HSB, let's say I teach HSB well. I don't know. So I don't teach bio well. So I'd have to do some work on bio. That's what they are saying. He's an HSB teacher, but not a bio. Well, I'll have to look at that. I don't know if that is what it meant, but we have to look at that. But yes, I teach both biology and HSB, environmental science and agriculture. All right, that's a lot. All right, so let's get right back into excretion. Now, the first thing we want to do is to define excretion. Now, you cannot write a definition for excretion and it does not have metabolic waste. All right, you cannot write a definition for excretion and it does not have the word metabolic waste. So please write me your definition for excretion. Now, this is not going to be a walk in the park like it was for the skeletal system, because I know you guys don't like the nephron, but nephron is a part of it. All right, great. So give me that definition for excretion. Definition for excretion. And you have to come very good in. I'm not using a book. So excretion is a process by which metabolic waste are removed from the body. It is as simple and as nice as that. All right. And metabolic waste refer to those things that are made in the body. So now I have a question for you. Is feces a metabolic waste? Tell me in the chat, is feces a metabolic waste? So if it is not a metabolic waste, what it is? All right, I agree. Feces is not a metabolic waste. Feces is not a metabolic waste. Feces is not an excretory product. Feces is a digested product. Feces is similar to vomit. Can I get a little rude here? Yes, I am going to get rude. Now, let us just remind ourselves before I get rude. Feces is not an excretory product. However, feces contain excretory product. I don't know if you understand that. So I could say that water is not dirt, but water have dirt in it. So hence you need to put a filter on it. So feces is not an excretory product, but it contains excretory product like mucus and other things that are moved out of the body. We're going to be looking at some of them. So being that we're on the matter of excretion and excretory product, I have a question to ask you. And this was something that my dear supervisor and I spoke about years ago. Is the vagina excretory organ? Yes, the feces would contain some amount of water, salt, and urine somewhere there. All right, so I think you're answering now that the feces is not an the vagina is not an excretory organ. All right, fair enough. Does the vagina excrete anything? Yes or no? Does the vagina excrete anything? Some persons are saying yes, some persons are saying no. I ask real tricky question to see how much you understand the content, you know. I ask really tricky question. So what is it if you think the vagina excrete? What is it that the vagina excretes? Now be careful, you know. There are some fancy words here. There is excretion, there is secretion, there is egestion. Right? So be careful of the words secrete, excrete, egested. The vagina does not do urine. It would do mucus. And would mucus be an excretory product or a secretory product? I don't know. I frankly don't know this time. But down the line of what I am thinking, I'm thinking when you have your period, that's an excretory product. When you have your period, that's an excretory product. It's not a secretion. The mucus is a secretion, as far as I probably think. But the period is definitely an excretory. So it's a discharge. It's discharged because it's coming out. But what is it classified as? Is it classified as an excretory product, secretory product, or egested product? Do that work for me and send me in the chat and tell me what you're finding. I don't know what it is, but it's food for thought. I want you to think about it. All right, excretion. The first thing we're supposed to know, or the first thing we're supposed to do, we're supposed to explain the importance of excretion in human. Include definition for excretion. So we did the definition already. So tell me why is it important for us to excrete? What's the importance of a process of excretion? All right, leave off of that trivia stuff that I give you, because if it wasn't a crash class, I'll give you a whole lot of trivia. But what's the importance of excretion? It helps to keep the environment in the body constant. So it sounds like excretion is homeostasis. It removes waste. But I never asked you what it does. I'm asking you about the importance. So yes, it remove these wastes. Yeah, that is what it does. But why is it important? What is the problem? What type of problem? I'm seeing harmful material from the body. So be careful. It wants to know why the importance. So pretty much the importance is to remove metabolic waste or remove harmful waste from the body, which would have otherwise be toxic to the body, causing the individual to become sick, or if it persists, it might kill you. For example, if we don't remove carbon dioxide from the body, just slow down a bit with the typing. If we don't remove carbon dioxide from the body, then the carbon dioxide is going to acidify the blood. When the blood becomes acidic, you are going to have lesion on the skin. What is lesion on the skin? Sore. All right. So you want to ensure that you can get rid of that carbon dioxide, that waste material, so that the blood doesn't become acidic. Now, there is water, salt, and urea and heat that we have to remove. And because we are using all of these fancy terms now, water, salt, urea, then we have to remember now that the negative feedback mechanism is a part of the excretory process. But explain the role of the organs involved in excretion. And the organs, just tell me in the chat the organs that are involved in excretion. Type all of them one time, then you send. What are the organs that are involved? And I have a live on this whole lesson. I have a live on excretion, so I really don't need to do everything. Like I tell you what the topics are, you can just go and look at the live and watch that live. Yes, negative feedback mechanism helps to bring back things to normal, while a positive feedback mechanism causes more of something happen. So yes, the organs are going to be the skin, the lungs, the kidney. The skin, the lungs, and the kidney are our major excretory organ. So what are some of the things that are excreted by all these organs? Let me know those very quickly. Things that are excreted by these organs. All right, so the skin is excreting heat and sweat. I'm seeing that. All right, great. So I want to know what is excreted by these organs. Somebody made mention of the alimentary canal. That's one as well. But it's not on the syllabus as an excretory organ, but it is. All right. But you have to tell me what is excreting. You can't just write the products that are excreted. You must write the organ from which they come. So the kidney is getting rid of urea and salt and water as urine. That is good. The Sosa. Hi, the Sosa. That is good. The kidney, again, I'm seeing something there for the kidney. So you have to say the organ. The lungs is getting rid of carbon dioxide, some amount of water, and some amount of heat. All right, so continue. So we see the lungs, and we have seen the skin. We have seen the kidney. But what is the skin getting rid of? I'm not seeing that. The skin, water, urea, and salt. Oh, yes, as some amount of sweat. Okay, you did great there. So let's move right along into the lesson. Relate the structure of the kidney to the function. All right, so be careful when you talk about this. You are relating the structure of the kidney to its function. So you are looking at the parts of the kidney and how the parts function. All right, so just hold on a bit. Let me just check something. Just pause one bit that we can get this thing into perspective. So it's a relate the structure of a kidney to, or the structures of a kidney to their function. We're supposed to look at the internal structure of the kidney, and a diagram is required. So you need to be able to identify that diagram and label the diagram. And the function of the nephron. You remember I told you about the nephron when we started out earlier. And a diagram is also required. So it means that you need to know what the diagram of a nephron look like, and you must be able to label it and see what happens where. You need to know about the parts of the kidney, and you need to say what happens where. So you're talking about things like the cortex, you're talking about things like the medulla, you're talking about things like the pelvis. Those areas of the kidney, you need to know them. And of course, the ureter, you need to know them, be able to label them, and say what is the function of each part. You also need to know the nephron. So you need to know the glomerulus, the blood vessel that is carrying blood to the glomerulus is of course going to be the afferent arteriole. And I said that in my live earlier this morning. The afferent arteriole, and it's a larger arteriole, and then the efferent arteriole is taking away blood from the glomerulus. Now, because of the difference in size of these two blood vessels, it creates a pressure in the knot here that we call the glomerulus. Then we are going to have the Bowman's capsule, and it is within the Bowman capsule that we have the glomerulus. After the Bowman capsule, we are going to have the proximal convoluted tubule, and then we are going to have the loop of Henle, and over here now we are going to have the distal convoluted tubule. Now, in some books, it might say first convoluted tubule and second convoluted tubule. So the major things there for you to know about the nephron are the glomerulus, the Bowman's capsule, the first or proximal convoluted tubule. What proximal means is that it is near to the glomerulus or near to the Bowman's capsule, right? And of course, then the second convoluted tubule or distal convoluted tubule, which means that it is away. All right? It is just some views that we do probably in higher science, but just forget that. Proximal are first, distal are second. And then we have the collecting duct that is pretty much collecting the urine. Sorry, you need to know what happens everywhere. What the kidney, as we talk about the nephron and the Bowman capsule for ultrafiltration, you need to know what happens everywhere. You need to know where sugar and salts are reabsorbed. You need to know where water is reabsorbed. So you want to get onto the nephron after the show tonight to make sure you have that lock. You want to get onto the kidney tonight to make sure that you have that lock. And if we are talking about excretion, I don't think we could have this conversation without talking about the skin. The skin is always going to be a part of that. So it said that diagram is required, and we are supposed to selective reabsorption. We're going to talk about that in the nephron of substances composing of urine, mention renal dialysis. So we are supposed to talk about renal dialysis. So let me just go through renal dialysis very quickly. Now, renal dialysis speaks to the kidney malfunctioning for some reason. Whether you have diabetes or high blood pressure, but the Amo is here, she can help me with this. The kidney would have pretty much, yes, I'm seeing a lot of nice things here. The kidney would have been damaged. When the kidney is damaged, you have to sign up for some implant to clean the blood, or you have to go to the renal clinic to clean the blood. When you go to the renal clinic, which in Jamaica, one is done by KPH, they are going to allow your blood to flow through a machine. Please look for one of those diagrams and be able to label it. I have seen it on exams already. So remember that it is like it's like an osmosis taking place there. So they are going to send heparin through your blood. And what heparin does is to thin out the blood to allow the blood to flow. And then the blood is going to flow through a selectively permeable membrane where, of course, it is going to be filtering the blood. You need to look at a diagram of that. All right, so it's coming down, 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 down. So I am feeling sleepy myself. All right, related structure, then I spoke about the skin. The related structure of the skin to their function, Now remember, it is not said here, but I think you should know it, and I'm going to tell you what it is. You should know the urinary system. The urinary system comprises of two kidneys, the renal arch, renal vein, and ureter. Make sure you know that it is not here, but probably it is hidden in what we're doing. You are doing excretion, so the urinary system, the kidney, the nephron, those are the three major diagrams over there. So, and then now you're going to go to the skin. I need to know the parts of the skin, because the skin, it's a diagram of the skin required, which means that you must be able to identify all the parts of the skin. And we did that in the live last night. Now, explain the concept of homeostasis. What is homeostasis? Tell me in the chat. Now, definition of homeostasis, an example of homeostasis. So we need to look at that. What is homeostasis and examples of homeostasis? Homeostasis is the maintenance of a constant internal environment. So homeostasis is the maintenance of a constant internal environment. And they are saying here, very good, you are doing well. You are supposed to give example. Once you're asked to give examples of homeostasis, and here it said that we are supposed to look at chronic lifestyle disease. Here with homeostasis, we have to look at chronic lifestyle disease. So you have to be able to tell why the kidney became damaged, that we had to go to that renal clinic. So when you are going to talk about homeostasis, you must talk about the negative feedback mechanism, where you are going to be able to tell how water balance is maintained in the blood. That there's a flow diagram, I think, in your book somewhere there. How water balance is maintained, how temperature is maintained, and how the sugar level in the blood is maintained, how blood pressure is maintained. So you need to look at those diagrams in your book that covers these negative feedback mechanism. What a negative feedback mechanism does is to bring back the blood or bring back the body to normal, right? So if it is too high, let me just give you one negative feedback mechanism. Just before you have your breakfast or your meal or whatever, what would have happened is that the sugar in the blood would have been very low. Very low. Now, as soon as you eat that meal, the sugar level is going to go up. What's going to happen is that the pancreas is going to secrete insulin, and this insulin, pancreas with the aid of the liver will cause the secretion of insulin, and it's going to convert insulin into glycogen, and this insulin will be stored pretty much in the liver and the muscle cell, and some might be converted to fats and so on. When there's a scarcity or when there is not enough for you to provide energy, then there's a hormone called glucagon. When you're hungry and so on, glucagon will convert glycogen into glucose. But it is not glucagon alone that will do something like this. The adrenaline, when you need that extra bolt of energy to run from somebody or something like that, adrenaline will, of course, convert that stored glycogen into glucose that the body can use. So that is just one example. I showed you when it is high and when it is low. That is an example of negative feedback. Remember, as it were with glucose, glucose is that prime thing that we talk about when we are talking about diabetes. Now, when we're talking about diabetes, if the body is not producing enough glucose, or the glucose that is produced, the body is not able to react to it, then an individual ends up with a physiological disease, or what we refer to as a degenerative disease, that is called diabetes, right? Now, there are a whole lot of ripple effect when a person has diabetes, and you want to be able to look at that because it says here for excretion, you should know about chronic lifestyle disease, and diabetes could somewhat be considered as a chronic lifestyle disease, as it's a little bit about how you eat and pretty much treat yourself. We are supposed to relate the structure of the skin. We did that already. We just did homeostasis, and you are supposed to look at that, do some more reading in your book. We are supposed to explain the concept of a feedback mechanism. We spoke about that, and it's we are supposed to include regulation of carbon dioxide. So how the body regulates the carbon dioxide, you need to put that in your feedback mechanism. Once CXC says that, then the greatest possibility lies with them testing you on carbon dioxide for negative feedback mechanism. But carbon dioxide and glucose would have been a good fit. Now, describe the regulation of blood sugar. Here we talk about glucose, that again with the negative feedback mechanism, the role of insulin and glucagon. So I just told you about insulin and glucagon as a negative feedback mechanism, so you can just study the others. Explain the regulation of water. That's another negative feedback mechanism. So you need to know about carbon dioxide. You need to know about sugar. You need to know about water as we talk about osmoregulation regulation. And you should be able to distinguish between heat and temperature. Interesting here. You are supposed to be able to differentiate between heat and temperature. Tell me in the chat what's the difference between heat and temperature. And then you are going to tell me what's the relationship between them. That was quicker than I thought. All right, so that takes us to the end of excretion. So you just need to read these again. So tomorrow I will join you for reproduction, and in the evening I'll probably touch heredity, which is I want to show you all the genetic crosses again. But I want, while you go to work tomorrow or you're home tomorrow, I want you to go to that playlist that says genetics and make sure that you treat with what is there. So temperature is what the body makes. Another very good one there. Heat is the amount of energy in an object. That is good. Heat is a form of energy. Yes, heat is a form of energy. Temperature is a measure of how hot or cold you are. All right. So temperature is pretty much a measure of how hot or cold you are, and heat is pretty much a form of energy. So what is the relationship between these two? What's the relationship between heat and energy? All right, so right after this, we are going to take our break. So if you like what we do, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, right? You have to have a YouTube account in order to do some of these stuff. So you want to give us a thumbs up if what we did makes sense. You want to subscribe and share if what we did makes sense. And you want to tell your friends about us if what we did makes sense. You want to put a link from my channel in your WhatsApp status, because what we did tonight, I think that it's the time of the night. Not even the Ministry of Education in Jamaica don't teach this time of the night. All right. So you want to put something in your status that other persons can come on over. Now, if you want to donate to the development or the growth of a product that we have, lighting and all these fancy gadgets, of course, you can send me an email at the YouTube channel email address. And of course, just let me see if I have the address there. All right, so I will get you the email address. So if you are so driven to just send us something that will be able to help those who come after you or even continue to help you better. And if you're from a company and you want to sponsor any of our product, we'll be most grateful. We could discuss the line of product and the countries that we're in. And of course, if you want us to promote something for you on the channel, we'll be so happy to do as well. All that can be worked out just from a simple mail, and I'm going to be sending the link for the email address. So if you need to reach us for us to do anything for you, it won't be a bother for you. All right, so it is as usual, nice being with you. That's the email address for the channel. And I did ask today for the 2020 HSB paper. That's the 2020 May, June. If I could get a blank copy of that paper so that we could have it for class tomorrow, that would have been really, really nice. All right. So if you want to sponsor us, if you want to donate to us, whatever you want to do for us, we're going to be very grateful. You can just write us and tell us, and we can make the arrangement for that. As it were, about 5:30 tomorrow, we are going to have our next live. And then tomorrow evening at 7 again, we are going to have our next live. And then we are going to put the icing on the cake Wednesday morning and send you off to school. All right. It has been really, really, I don't know, I've seen some persons for the first time. Remember when you subscribe, you must click that notification bell. And when you click that notification bell, select all. If you don't do that, you are going to be missing out on a lot, because when we come on and we have breaking news or we have a content we want to share with you, and you don't have that, what happens is that you miss out on it. So for example, we came on and we log on just now and we're having problem with the whole setup, whatever is happening, we should come off. Probably you can't even find the channel again. So you want to make sure that you subscribe and click the notification bell, select all, that the information comes to you. From time to time, we change our thumbnail depending on a number of factors. And when we change the thumbnail, you might not be able to find us. So you want to ensure that you click that notification bell and of course select all. Make sure you tell somebody about the channel. Make sure you tell somebody about the channel. We're not asking students to pay while we will accept donation for growth, because we honestly know that there are some persons who can't pay. But for those persons who would love to leave a donation, we would also love to collect it. All right. We really want to grow. We want to have proper lighting, proper computer. We want to be able to pay for those software that we can offer the product at the level that you want to see it. And the only way we can do that is through funding. All right. But we will continue to do what we can do until things would have changed. All right. So until next time, not next time, until tomorrow morning, take care. All right. I'm heading off to shower. Remember, if you can go over one of the diagrams or two, the diagrams that we looked at, you could do that before you go to bed. It's bedtime now, it's 10 minutes to 11. All right. And I think in Guyana, it is 10 minutes to 12. And in Trinidad, it is 10 minutes to 12. Before you go, what I want you to do, before you go, I'm begging you something. Before you go, just write which country you are from in the chat. And if you are from Jamaica, just write which parish you are from. We always want to have that information that we understand the spread. All right, we want to know who we are reaching. So just do that in the chat for me. And for those persons who are not yet subscribers, make sure that you do. All right. So I call them now. So I'm seeing Jamaica. I'm seeing St. Vincent. I'm seeing Clarendon, Montego Bay, Cayman Island. Welcome, Cayman. Trinidad and Tobago, always here. Tobago, always here. Trelawney, St. Catherine, St. James, Portland, Trinidad, St. James, Westmoreland, Trinidad, Guyana, St. Catherine, Jamaica, Clarendon. Oh my, it's going really, really fast now. Grenada, Mandeville, St. James, Mobay, Guyana, TT, Jamaica, Portland, St. Catherine, Trinidad, Jamaica, Clarendon, specifically Grand Cayman. Okay, great. So I want you to tell persons, Anova, TT, they're always here with us, St. Catherine. So I'm not seeing Kingston. Nobody here from Kingston? Montego Bay, a whole lot of persons out of Montego Bay, Jamaica, St. Anne, St. Catherine, Barbados, St. Kingston and St. Andrews, Spanish Town, Kingston, Jamaica, St. Anne, Barbados, and the list goes on and on. We are very happy that we have had the opportunity to serve you, and we do hope that when you get to that exam, you'll be acing the exam. We have one regret though. We're sorry that you were not here from we started out and you were battling with COVID and we were having classes here. We started class from the 12th of September last year. Online, we had 3 classes per week, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours, sometimes an hour on a Wednesday, on a Friday, and on a Sunday. So when you were having dinner on Sunday, we were here having school. As many persons are sleeping now, and we are online having school. But I do hope that your dreams will come true and you will move on to higher heights as you complete studies here. I know for HSB, a lot of persons are doing it for the field of nursing. The persons who will be doing HSB come next year, you are going to have a SBA, and we're going to be doing some things on that. But as of Wednesday, we are going to take our break somewhat. We might do a 1 and 2 video, but we are going to be setting up the online platform so that those persons who need that extra help, you can come on over there. All right, we are going to be over here, but not as much as we were last year, but we need you to be a part. All right, so big up Montego Bay. All right, so Adiplus is the person in the background that monitors what is happening on the screen. So what happens is that whatever I miss that it needs to be addressed, Adiplus would send that information to me, and the next time we meet, we talk about it. Adiplus is out of Montego Bay, so Adiplus is bigging up Montego Bay. I am bigging up all Caribbean island, all parishes from across Jamaica. I didn't see St. Thomas, but I saw Portland. Portland, are you from Happy Grove High School? Or St. Thomas, anybody here from Happy Grove High School? Happy Grove, are you in the building? Tarrant High School, are you in the building? Skelets, are you in the building? Brownstone, anybody in the building from Brownstone? Yaltigo B. All right, good evening and have yourself. Portmore, you are recognized. Big up yourself. Port Antonio, I. All right, Clarendon and Kingston Technical is, of course, in the house. All right, share it with your science department. Share it to the students in grade 10. Particularly, we have some animation of all the labs. I write animation, so we have animations of the labs. So students are better able to understand and see the color changes that they would not have seen in most cases. It's taking you like 2 hours plus to write up a lab. In 5 minutes, we do the color change and you would have that and out. All right, Distinction College, you are recognized. Big up yourself. All right, Edwin Allen, big up yourself. Continue to run. All right, Montego Bay Eyes in the building and Distinction College is also here. Herbert Morrison, I'm seeing you. Edwin Allen again, we're seeing you and we're seeing Camper. I think I have some interest in these schools. Just let me go back up. Sorry, guys. I want to have some interest in these schools. So I am seeing, let me start. Oh, a Guyanese. So Edwin Allen, Camperdown, St. Andrew, that is St. Andrew for girls. Edwin Allen, Herbert Morrison, Distinction College, again, Edwin Allen, Montego Bay High, Distinction College, Old Harbor High, big up the persons from Longsville, Herbert Morrison, yes, Brownstone is in the building, Distinction College again, Herbert Morrison, Distinction College, what is this again? Katrina High School, I don't know that school, I'm sorry. You have to tell me more about it. All your classmates come over here. Holy Childhood High School, big up yourself. The nice blue there out of Harper Tree. No SBA for the persons who are having the exam on Wednesday, but next year. Michael University, that is strange. Michael University, okay, Michael University, big up yourself. And let us continue. Cornwall College, that is, I think, out Ali Plus, big up yourself, Cornwall College. Ali Plus is everything Montego Bay. Merlin Otti High, big up yourself. Tarrant High School, the big school down there. Jeremy Bembridge, big up yourself. Distinction College, St. Jago High School, Miss Price over there in St. Jago. York Castle, Miss A, Chanel A, teaching biology from York Castle. Big up yourself. Lol. Christiana High School, Mr. Kurt Powell, my classmate from out of Christiana High. That was my classmate at college. Irwin I, big up yourself. Demby I, doing well, a PE teacher there coming from Kingston. Lamar Martin, the PE teacher out there in Demby I. Clarendon High School. What is this? Christiana, big up yourself. Institute of Career Choice, big up yourself. I'm not too sure Institute of Career Choice, but make sure you spread the word wherever that we continue to bloom, we continue to make smiles or to put smile on person's face, and to, of course, make science a little easier. That is our objective over here, to make science easier for kids. Big up yourself, Erwin. I add it plus, big up yourself. Donna from Distinction College. All right, don't call your names. We don't want anybody to come and look for you and then we start mourning for you. But we're very happy to know that we're touching so many lives. Really grateful that we have so many persons all logged in, all locked and loaded from various Caribbean islands. I tell you, the thing that Unity and this technology can do, I don't know you, but you'll see me someday. Please be reminded that I have my books coming out August. So if you like, share, subscribe, and click the link. Of course, you'll be reading the first chapter. Trust me, you want to read my books. I write good things, they say. All right. Asian Murphy's in the building. Where's Asian, Adi Plus? Asian is in the building. Asian out of Tarrant High School. That lead, what is he again? He's from the cadet unit, that musician, that big boss over there. Big up yourself. Amoy Lawrence, big up yourself. All right. So I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so happy for you guys, and I'm so confident, like I said to the kids this morning, you all will be doing well. It's a pity that we weren't able to meet others. Diana Malcolm, where's Diana Malcolm from? Institute of Career Choice, private school. I figure more or less it's a private school, but even though Mr. Wilson is, I don't know, I'm a profitable organization, I really don't care which school you go to. I don't matter if you pay $1 million to go to school or $1 or you never go to school. We're just happy to have you here. It's sort of, I don't know, I'm not a rich man, but what I do know, I am a man, just like you, and we have to help, and someday we get help just the same. God bless you, sir. Bless up, big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself. All right, so we're going to take our leave now. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to join you tomorrow morning by about 5:30 thereabout to see if we can put some more flavor to this thing. Remember to call on your friends, Dead with Laugh, Amoy Lawrence. What am I say, Adi Plus? What am I say? What am I draw me out for? I have not seen Tanisha, and I have not seen Otisha, my friends out of Guyana. What is happening? I didn't see them for bio classes. I'm not seeing them for HSB. What's happening with them? Yes, you need to set your time. My friends out of all the persons who are from my class, where are they? Where are they? Where is your book going to sell? My book will be on all major platforms. It's not book, it's books. The truth is we have been working, we have been writing the setting for the book today. I will put it on hold to come and teach you because the book is supposed to go off by Thursday of this week, and I am still here teaching. Right? So we have we have 3 books ready now. One is about a kid with some challenges that want to become a doctor, and that story is out there. One is about a story of finding a particular fruit in Jamaica, which pretty much epitomizes success and how persons can just hold you down because they are better than you. And then there's one for like a reader, 3-year-old reader, that type of a thing. So we have 3 new books coming out along with a number of other science books that we have been writing. So I've been busy in the background writing. I have been teaching for 13 years, and I think that it is time for me to write about the experience, to write about corrective measure, to write about things that I have seen that could be better, and to strengthen the thing, and to communicate to persons how life can change. You have to tell the story so that persons have hope. All right? So the book will be on all major platforms and in some of our bookstores as well. So you can buy it for yourself, or you can give it to somebody as a gift. We have some gift book there. Or you can read with a child. Like I am with you teaching, you can just buy the book and read with a child. But it's going to worth it, we think. All right? Little London High School. Little London is in Westmoreland. Big up yourself. Clarendon College. Big up yourself. Jamaica. JM. St. Catherine. All right. Big up yourself. We are bigging up all the school. And you see, tomorrow morning, I am going to know which school has the student that can get up early. I'm going to know tomorrow morning those students who have the fire, that burning zest for success. I'm getting up early because guess what? I am going to be a part of Victory Line. All right? I am very happy for you guys. You did not succumb to COVID saying that, hey, I'm going to fail, so I'm not going to do it. What you did, you went out and you searched and you find. It's just that it's not too late because we think we can prepare you with what we're doing. That's why we didn't come with past paper. We come with content. We come and tell you exactly what you need to learn. And if you follow the formula, trust me, you won't be complaining about anything. All right, so let me see what I'm gonna say. I'm not even gonna sleep, lol. It happens, all right? But remember, when you're going to exam tomorrow, drink a lot of water. All right, great. Thank you very much, Brown. Thank you very much. Belmont Academy, it is Bloomfield, Westmoreland. You know, I want to come to some of these schools. I want to come to some of these schools to do some labs with the bio and HSB students. I want to come to some of these schools to work a past paper or something with some of these students. I want to come to some of these schools to show them technology as an alternative part to your classroom. What we find is that because we're moving from student-centered learning to from teacher-centered learning to student-centered learning, we have had complaints where, based on what we do here, there are some persons who have a little challenge, but nonetheless, we are going to be marketing this. What we do, most of what we do here is driven by research, right? And you'll see me come on and asking questions, allowing students to talk and all of that. And every now and then I have a talk, but it's a new way of education. Anyhow, go on to bed. Me soon tomorrow morning. Big up yourself. May I go get a shower? All right. I am most grateful. Is it Kia? I'm most grateful. Thanks. What is that? Leonora. Annie plus pronounce that for me, no? Tomorrow biology gone today. What do you mean tomorrow biology? Biology exam was today. Oh, you're asking if I'm going to release the bio paper. What are you asking about biology? I don't understand the question, Davis. Check your timetable if you don't know, but by now you should know the biology paper 2 went today. So if you didn't do it, you would have missed the exam. All right, so good night. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to get whatever comes. Okay, great. So HSB is going to be on Wednesday, and then the multiple choice for you guys to use to prepare for the exam. It is already on my channel, free. Go on over, carry all your classmates. Don't try to be selfish, because I am not selfish. So share it with everybody. Put it on your status. Good evening. Make more. I'm gone.